trying to find in-home care can be a lot, right? You're looking for someone you can really trust, someone reliable to help you or a family member, but it's hard to know where to even start. So in the next few minutes, we're going to cut through all that confusion and give you a clear path forward so you can find the right care with total confidence.
Okay, first, let's get a handle on the challenge we're up against. Look at this number, 79%. That is the turnover rate in the home care industry. It's staggering. It means for every 5 caregivers, 4 will leave their job in a year. For you, that can feel like a revolving door of strangers in your home and really inconsistent care. And that instability, that's exactly why finding a truly reliable agency is so important. So, that brings us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? With all that turnover and so many choices out there, how in the world do you find care that you can actually count on, day in and day out? Well, that's what we're here to figure out. Let's break it down.
First things first, we have to speak this same language. You've probably heard home care and home health care thrown around like they're the same thing. They are absolutely not. And getting this difference straight is your very first step to finding what you actually need.
This chart makes it super clear. So on one side, you've got home care. Think of this as non-medical, daily life support, help with meals, getting around, or just having some companionship. It's all about making life easier and safer at home. No doctor's note needed. Then on the other side, you have home health care. This is clinical. It's medical care that a doctor must prescribe, like physical therapy after a surgery or skilled nursing. So the big question for you is, are you looking for help with daily living, or do you need medical treatment at home?
And just to make sure we're totally clear on the medical side, there's one more key difference to understand. Home health care, like we just said, is about recovery. The goal is to treat an injury or illness to help you get stronger and more independent. Hospice care is different. The focus shifts from curing an illness to providing comfort and quality of life for someone with a terminal diagnosis. It's about managing symptoms and providing really deep emotional and spiritual support.
All right, so we know the different types of care. Now, let's talk about who qualifies for them, especially the medical kind that insurance, like Medicare, often helps pay for. So for Medicare to cover your home health care, you've got to check a few boxes. First, it all has to be ordered and reviewed by your doctor. It can't just be a casual thing. You also have to need what they call intermittent skilled care, things like nursing or physical therapy on a part-time basis. And this next one is a deal breaker. The agency you use must be Medicare certified. Finally, your doctor has to certify that you are homebound. And that word causes a lot of confusion.
So what does homebound actually mean? It's not what you probably think. It doesn't mean you're trapped inside 24/7. It just means that leaving home is really, really hard to do. Maybe you need a walker, a wheelchair, or another person's help. It just takes a ton of effort. You can absolutely still go to doctor's appointments or even religious services. The key is that just getting out the door is a major ordeal. Okay, let's talk about the big one, the question on everyone's mind. How do you pay for all of this? Especially the non-medical care that Medicare usually doesn't touch. Let's look at some real numbers. Let's just put a number on it. The national median cost for non-medical home care, again, that's help with things like meal prep and daily tasks, is headed for about $33 an hour in 2025. Now, of course, that's going to change depending on where you live, but it gives you a realistic starting point for budgeting. So, where's the money coming from? Well, most often, it's private pay. People are using their own savings. Another major source is long-term care insurance, which are policies built for exactly this purpose. Then, like we've said, Medicare can jump in, but only for that short-term, skilled home health care. And finally, for those with limited income and assets, Medicaid is a possibility. Now, if you do have one of those long-term care policies, how do you actually use it? It might seem complicated, but it's really a 4-step process. First, just read your policy and confirm it covers home care. Simple enough. Second, you'll need a formal assessment that shows you need help with at least 2 activities of daily living, things like bathing or dressing. Third, your agency will create a plan of care. And fourth, you just bundle it all up and submit it to your insurance company. We've talked about the what, the who, and the how much. Now we get to the most important part of all. How do you actually pick a great agency you can trust? This is where you really take control. Before you do anything else, before you even make a phone call, this should be your very first question. Is the agency licensed by the state? And if you need medical care, is it Medicare certified? This isn't just a piece of paper. It's your proof that they meet basic health and safety standards. It's your first line of defense. So,
Beyond that basic certification, what are the signs of a top-notch agency? Here's your checklist. They absolutely must do thorough background checks. They need to have liability insurance. That protects you. Ask if they provide ongoing training for their caregivers. A great agency invests in their people. They should also give you clear written policies on everything. And hey, don't be afraid to ask for references. A good agency will be proud to share them.
This is such an important question, and it's one people often forget to ask. What happens if there's an issue at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night? Needs don't keep business hours. A truly reliable agency will have someone on call 24/7 to handle emergencies, so you're never left feeling alone or unsupported.
As you start working with an agency, it's so important to remember you're not just a patient. You're a client, and you have rights. Knowing what you're entitled to is how you advocate for yourself and ensure you get the best possible care. You are a partner in this process. You have the right to be involved in planning your own care from the very beginning. You have the right to know in advance if anything in that plan is going to change. It's your home, so your property must be treated with respect, and your personal info has to be kept private. And maybe the most important one, if something isn't right, you have the right to complain without ever worrying that it will negatively affect your care.
Okay, here's one last tool that protects your wallet. It's called an Advance Beneficiary Notice, or ABN. Basically, if an agency is about to provide a service they think Medicare might not pay for, they have to give you this written notice first. It's a heads up that says, hey, this might not be covered, and here's what it will cost. That way, you get to decide if you want the service and are willing to pay for it. No surprise bills.
So, we have covered a lot: the different types of care, the costs, how to vet an agency, and your rights. Hopefully that path forward feels a lot clearer now. So I'll leave you with this to think about. With everything we just went over, what's the one thing you learned today that will totally change how you approach finding care?